This is a question from artificial intelligence. Arrange the following steps in the correct sequence of applying a unsupervised learning technique such as clustering to a dataset. So, first is randomly initialize the cluster centroids, then assign each data point to the nearest cluster. Update the cluster centroids based on mean of data points assigned to each cluster. Specify the number of clusters k to partition the data into. Repeat steps B and C until convergence criteria is met. Choose the correct answers from the option given below. So in this, we are speaking about a particular unsupervised learning technique called k-means clustering. K-means clustering. Here what happens is k represents the number of clusters. K represents the number of clusters. So as a first step, we are actually assuming there are different data points like this. Assume there are so many data points. The basic idea of k-means clustering is to group these data points into k number of clusters. Assuming k equal to 2, what happens after finally k-means cluster is done is like this. Two clusters will be formed. Two separate clusters. Two separate clusters of this nature will be formed. This is one cluster and this is another cluster. This is what the basic idea of k-means cluster is. Now let's see what is actually happening. So initially, first we have to set how many clusters are to be defined. So initially we specify the clusters, specify the number of clusters. That is the first step. So D is the first step involved. So from options we can eliminate 2 and 3. 2 and 3 can be eliminated. Then the second step is we randomly initialize the cluster centroids. So randomly initialize cluster centroids. Cluster centroids. In this step, based on the data points, we randomly take a data point as the center of that cluster and we initialize it. Then what happens is we actually assign each data point to the nearest cluster. So D happens first, then A happens, then B happens. We assign each point to nearest cluster. So these 3 points happen. So first one is D, then second one is A, then we do assign it randomly. We assign each data point to the nearest cluster. Then what happens is we update the cluster centroids based on mean of the data points. So as a fourth step, we update the cluster centroids. Update cluster centroids. Cluster centroids. Then as a final step, we repeat steps B and C, that is assigning each data point to nearest cluster and update the cluster centroids until a convergence criteria is met. This is the final step. So we repeat 3 and 4 till convergence. Till convergence. So this is what is happening. So based on the options, we can say the order will be D followed by A followed by B followed by C followed by E. This is the specific order. And from the options, we can say option 1 will be the right choice.